Hi, my name is Jane and we're here at PC Gamer Event 2016 in London, and now I'm going to talk to Mark and we're going to talk about Prison Architect.
It's quite similar to the old Bullfrog God games, the construction games like Theme Hospital, Theme Park, all of those kind of things. So you start off with a completely empty plot of land and you've got a bus full of prisoners coming in and you've got to build a holding cell for the prisoners. If you don't build a holding cell, the prisoners will escape, right? Because prisoners don't want to be at prison. So they'll go into their holding cell, but fairly soon they're going to need to use a toilet, they're going to get hungry, so you need to get some plumbing going on in there, you need to get a kitchen to get them fed. Not all the prisoners are going to like each other, so you probably want to get a cell block built, because otherwise you're going to get fights happening in your holding cell, which you don't really want. You've got to wire in the electrics, you've got to plumb it in, you've got to basically build an entire prison to meet the needs of your prisoners. So in the early part of the game, it's very much about, are they fed? Are they getting enough exercise? Those kind of physical needs. But then as it goes on further, you need to make decisions about, are you going to put in visitation rooms, let them see their family? Are you going to put in reform programs, train them to work in the workshop or in the kitchen or something like that? Or are you going to take the view that no, prisoners need to be locked down? If they make a mistake, they need to go to solitary confinement, So as the game goes on, it gets quite complex in the way that you as the player determine how you want to kind of manage the specific needs of the prisoners.
What kind of modes a user can select? Can they play arcade stories? Can they just have a sandbox where they just kind of go on and go on? What are the choices?
Yeah, so there are three modes, basically. There's story mode, which is the first story acts as a kind of introduction to the game, how you play it, how you do basic building. But then as you play through the stories, you learn some of the more advanced features in the game, how you put out a fire, those kind of things. But each one of the story tells a story in its own right, with own unique characters, with their own kind of characteristics and things, and their own sort of themes running through them. So there's a story mode. Then there's a sandbox, which is an empty plot of land, and you can just build and build and build. And we've got prisons on the Steam Workshop now with hundreds of hours in. People really work hard on this. And then finally, if you're bored of that, you can play escape mode, which is when basically you take control of a prisoner, like in an arcade style, and you've got to escape from the prison. So tunnel out, or maybe get a shotgun and try and shoot your way out, steal a fork and take a guard hostage, all this stuff. So there's three different modes that you can play.
Can you tell us about new features that are coming out?
Yeah, sure. So Prison Architect's been in early access for about 5 years, and it launched in October of last year, and every single month we do an update. So we do an update video and we put new features into it. Now, our last update 4, was released yesterday on Friday, and that brought in temperature into the game. So it gets cold outside, and then that cold slowly goes into the prison unless you've got heat sources within the prison. Now, at the moment, the temperature model just makes your prisoners a bit irritable. If they're too cold or too hot, they're more likely to riot. But we introduce things a little bit at a time to see how they work, and then we'll expand it. So probably in some of the updates coming up, if it gets too cold, the prisoners will die. And we're going to introduce severe weather and all sorts of things. But every month you'll get a new update for Prison Architect.
I can see that's you on your t-shirt, and can you tell us something about the characters you're building around?
Yeah, sure. So when we were in early access, we used a kind of Kickstarter model to help people to pay us to make the game a reality. And one of the tiers that we offered was for our artists to draw a cartoon image of you and then get within the game. And that's what this is. So this is a cartoon image of me as my prisoner within the game. Now, you can't buy that anymore, but what you can still buy if you're interested is you can name a prisoner and write a little bio. So you can name yourself and the crime that you've committed and go into prisons. And about a few updates ago, I can't remember exactly when, we introduced women's prisons. So it worked perfectly for you.
Oh, that's great. Can you tell me where the users can access the game, how they can purchase it, or where they can get it?
Yeah, absolutely. Steam. We've just launched on Xbox One Game Preview. This year, I've got to say, it will come out on Xbox 360 and PS4 as well. Or you can go to prison-architect.com.